everyone, and welcome to our webinar this afternoon. Thank you for tuning in and listening. I'll be your host for today. My name is Railbookers and I work here at the marketing department at Railbookers. I will also have a guest joining us today, Sarah Turner, who is also part of the amazing Railbookers team. She'll be telling you about summer holidays by rail. I'm super excited to be a part of this webinar and inform you about all the amazing journeys we provide. So why book with Railbookers? I'm going to tell you a little bit about us, but I hope you already know the most of it. We are a team of rail experts, or we like to call ourselves the self-confessed train geeks with extensive knowledge of best routes and best timing rail systems throughout the world. Our direct partnerships with rail companies around the world mean that we have access to special rates and availability which is not accessible to the public. And by booking with us, you get complete flexibility, meaning you're able to book your holiday for 2019 or even 2020 when tickets aren't released to the public yet. And of course, tailor-made to fit your exact requirements. All you have to do is sit back, relax, and let us take care of the hard work. We know with so many routes, trains, languages, and bookings, it can be difficult to book a rail holiday. And therefore, that's when we step in. All you have to do is sit back, relax, and get on board. How amazing is that? All these fantastic reasons are why we have won so many awards. As you can see on the screen, these are just some of the companies we work with directly around the world, which means we can get the best rates and availability for you at any time. These are the types of holidays that we provide. As you may already know, we specialize in tailor-made holidays, so just let us know what works for you. Whatever it is that you want to do, whether you want to fly from your local airport or spend a few nights in a certain country, just let us know and we can arrange this for you. And of course, we specialize in scenic train journeys. We will have a look at some of the scenic views today. We're looking at rail holidays in the summer. We also provide luxury and private journeys too, which is perfect if you're celebrating a big birthday or anniversary or simply just want to travel in style. We also do city breaks so even if you don't have as much time, whether you want to go to Amsterdam, Paris, or the south of France, come with us and we can arrange everything for you. You can be very surprised on how far you can get via rail in such a short amount of time. We also provide rail and sail trips. We have loads of customers who absolutely love a cruise. We can provide a rail holiday before or after a cruise. Whatever you prefer, this is something we can definitely offer. And lastly, we do lakes and mountain trips for those who really want to soak up the views and scenery. Here you can see some of our top destinations at Railbookers, from Italy, Switzerland, Spain, Portugal, USA, Canada, and Scandinavia. These destinations are extremely high in demand here at Railbookers. Firstly, Italy and Switzerland, of course, offer some of the most amazing scenic journeys around the world, with beautiful views whilst travelling around, from the Swiss tourist trains to travelling around Florence and Venice. Spain and Portugal are very popular too. After all the snow we've had here in London, I think everyone wants to get away from the beast's east and want to get to the sun and the beach. Whether it's a coast-to-coast trip down to the USA or Canadian Rockies, we love to put together trips like this and let you experience it. And lastly, Scandinavia. Scandinavia is super popular because of the beauty, but also how fast it is to travel around Scandinavia because of the high-speed trains that run regularly. In today's webinar, as previously mentioned, we will be discussing summer holidays by rail. And if you do have any questions, let us know. I know loads of you have already sent in some questions, but there will be a question box on the right-hand side which allows you to ask anything. And if we don't get a chance to answer your question on our webinar, someone will definitely get back to you, as no question here goes unanswered. I will now pass you over to Sarah, who will tell you about our rail trips in summer.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you Radhika for the introduction as well. And absolutely, so today we're going to be talking all about summer holidays by train, where you can go, what you can do, what destinations kind of come alive in the summertime. And there is absolutely no better time for it than at the moment. It is such a glorious day here in London. I said that on the 10 o'clock session though, and somebody did email in and say it's raining in the Lake District. So sorry if it's raining where you are, but it's lovely and sunny here. So we'll start with the first holiday, which is Zagreb, Split and Dubrovnik. And before I start, I should say for absolutely any of the holidays on the webinar today, they can all be tailor-made however you like. So if you see a flight home or a flight out and you'd rather take the train both ways, that's no problem. And we're going to look on every holiday at the alternatives to flying for traveling back or traveling out in different directions, so you don't do the same trip twice, the same journey twice. And of course, if you see rail but you'd rather fly into the first city on the itinerary, so Munich here, then that's no problem either. Obviously, we know that not everybody lives within striking distance of St Pancras with a Eurostar, so fly into the first place and then get going. So let's start by having a look at this holiday, and it starts out by taking the train all the way from London down to Munich. It's a really nice day of travel. It's a full day of travel, but really nice, high-speed, modern, comfortable trains the whole way. There's even a full restaurant car on the last bit down to Munich, and there are kind of lots of hot options by famous German chefs and things like that. So we get really nice feedback on those trains. You'll have an overnight in Munich, and then the next day, if you do the itinerary as per the map on our previous slide, you will take the sleeper train to Zagreb. So you'll have a whole day in Munich to kind of do whatever you like, really. Obviously, being the summer, as a summer holiday webinar, there's lovely gardens, the Englischer Gardens, and a beautiful old town in Munich to have a wander around. You can visit the Hofbrauhaus, one of Munich's most famous landmarks, the huge beer hall, and have some traditional food and things before you board the sleeper. The sleeper takes you into Zagreb, but you actually could do the journey by day if you'd rather. So depending on how much time you've got, if you wanted to add in another night, it's a really beautiful journey that goes all along the River Solzak and the Sava. And you'll see lots of different churches, small villages and things along the way. There's first class upgrades available too, with at-seat food service and things like that. So if that was something you were interested in, we could definitely do the journey by day. Zagreb is a really interesting city because it's kind of totally different to the Croatian cities that are down in the south of the country. It's up in the northwest, it's the capital, and it's got lots of sort of 18th, 19th century architecture from Austria, Hungary, so completely different to Split and Dubrovnik that we're going to have a look at on the next slide. You can see in the picture there the Gothic twin-spired Zagreb Cathedral, which is a really nice centre point to the city. There's a wonderful church called St Mark's Church that's got really lovely, beautiful kind of mosaic tiles on the roof, so that's a really nice place to visit as well. From Zagreb, you can take the train to Split. Really nice journey on Croatian rail through the country. See lots of different sort of rural sites, and there's lots of remote stations that the train passes through as well. Our head of rail has done this trip, and he said there's lots of kind of stations that are so remote that there's only 2 trains a day, and the station master kind of comes out and salutes the train as it passes. So it's a really nice local authentic experience to take the train down in this part of Europe. Split on the Dalmatian coast is absolutely beautiful city, and also the gateway to the islands. There's lots of ferry trips you can do out to Croatia's islands. I was there in 2012, and I think I genuinely thought it was one of the most beautiful places I'd ever been. This kind of part of Croatia. It's absolutely lovely, really beautiful coastline and lots of interesting architecture as well. There's Diocletian's Palace, which dates all the way back to I think the 4th century, and a kind of a fortress complex right at the centre of the city with bars and restaurants and things within it. So it's a really, really interesting place to spend some time, split between the city and the beach. There's actually no rail line from Split down to Dubrovnik, so it will be a bus ride. It's all pre-booked with seat reservations. It's air conditioned, so it's not kind of a local bus or anything like that. Dubrovnik on the Adriatic Sea, known pretty much mainly for those stone walls you see there in the picture. The whole city is encircled in these old stone walls from the 16th century. Lovely limestone paved streets and things like that too. It's a really popular destination for people to cruise out of. So if you do have a cruise that's even from there, we can definitely do a pre or a post rail holiday for you. And in the evening, when the cruise ships leaves, you'll get to the city much to yourselves more and get to go to the lovely kind of authentic restaurants there. Croatia is so near Italy that it's a really interesting take on Italian food. And on the way back, speaking of Italy, it's really, really popular, instead of flying, for customers to either go back via Ljubljana, the Slovenian capital and a Railbookers' favourite city, or you can head back to Split and take the ferry to Ancona, then travel all the way back up through Italy to get to Switzerland, to get to France, to get back to the UK. So some fantastic options instead of flying, to bookend your trip with some lovely rail journeys to and from your local station. Sticking to an Italian theme now, if you've ever watched a Railbookers webinar before, or seen a brochure or spent much time on our website, you'll know we love Italy here at Railbookers. It is always one of our most fantastic selling destinations, and that's equally true in the summer as in any other month. And our most favourite way to get to Italy is via the Swiss Alps, with an overnight stop in Geneva. This route can get you pretty much anywhere in Italy, but we're going to look at Lake Como today. So that's really popular at the moment. Start off leaving from London, Ebbsfleet or Ashford International by Eurostar. Take that to Paris. It's 2 hours, 2 hours and 1 minute, I think, in its fastest case. Quick change of trains, and you'll be on the train to Geneva. That is a train picture that I took from my journey. It's not the best picture, but I just wanted to show you kind of the really nice scenery that you do get from that train. Go along the Allen Gorge and the Seas-Bolazon Viaduct and things like that. So it's really, really pretty journey. Well, once you get into Geneva, we'll put you for a night or however long you like in a city centre hotel, probably right by the station, so you can easily head back to the train to catch your onward journey. The station's about an 8-minute stroll down to the lake, so really, really central. You'll be in Geneva if you leave London in the morning by the late afternoon, early evening, so you can have a wander down to the old town, see the fountain, watch the sunset over the lake, get some fondue if you're anything like me. When I was there, I was traveling with my colleague who was a vegan fondue. I think it was probably supposed to be for 2 people, but that really didn't stop me at all. The next day, the journey from Geneva to Milan is such a pretty one. That's another picture that I took from the train, going along the banks of Lake Maggiore. You start out going along the banks of Lake Geneva for about an hour. You watch the sun come up. We did. It was an early train that we caught. There are regular services to Milan all through the day. And then you go wind through the Swiss Alps. Really, really gorgeous scenery. It'll be totally sun-drenched in the summertime and really green and nice with blue skies. So you'll be in for a treat with that journey. And then it's a quick change and you can go up from Milan to Lake Como, which is the perfect destination if you're somebody who's interested in lots of natural beauty, a really relaxed pace, delicious food, and kind of sitting back and relaxing. There's lots of sightseeing to do, but it is all kind of a much more relaxed pace, which is exactly what I fancy around about now. It's in the foothills of the Alps, the lake. It's kind of shaped like an upside down Y, and wherever you stay on it, you can take lovely boat trips around to the other little villages and towns, because it is huge. We like to put people in Como. I think that's the perfect place, from my experience, to stay when you are in Lake Como. It's right on the southwest. It's a kind of a busy-ish town, so you get lovely restaurants. There's a really nice waterfront promenade with restaurants, places to get a drink and a coffee, and lovely little shops and things like that. There's also Renaissance architecture everywhere, and a lovely Gothic cathedral, and a scenic funicular that leaves there from nearby that goes right up. You can see down over the lake. So it's a really nice mixture of relaxation and bustle, and it's a perfect place to get all the little boat trips out to the tiny villages and towns around the lake. So the perfect base for your holiday, I think. And you might see George Clooney, who will agree with you that Lake Como is the perfect place to spend your holiday time. as I mentioned, you can use that route via Geneva, via the Alps, to get pretty much anywhere in Italy. Milan is certainly the railway hub of Italy. There's high-speed trains going down to the Cinque Terre, to Venice, Florence, Rome, the Amalfi Coast, Naples. The train from Geneva also goes directly to Verona and to Venice and to Lake Maggiore and to Milan as well, obviously. So it is a very, very nice way to get around. It's really easy to do that as well. We'll stick with the Italian theme for one more. I promise, just one more Italian holiday, though. I had to choose from about 30 that I wanted to include. This one's kind of totally different, so I think I'm allowed more than one Italian holiday. Got a flight in and out of Naples. Doesn't have to be from London. It can be from any local airport that you'd like to go from. And of course, there's no need to take a flight at all if you don't want to. You could definitely take the train down instead. Using that amazing route that we just saw, there's a high-speed train from Milan to Naples, and you could start your journey that way. It's totally up to you whether you wanted to do a mixture of flights and trains or just trains. So you'll spend one night in Naples after flying in, and then you'll get the full next day as well, as the kind of the onward phase is overnight. There's 2 ferry companies that run the onward route that we'll be happy to speak to you about if you want to take the trip. They've got kind of different options for dining and cabins, but either way, you'll be able to have an outside facing one if you like and watch the beautiful kind of ocean go by. Naples is such a fantastic city, famous for being the birthplace of pizza. But when I was in Venice with my colleagues, she asked them, the concierge at the hotel, she said, "Where's the best place to get pizza?" He looked down and he just went, "Napoli." So that kind of sums up how proud people from Naples are of their foodie heritage. The whole city's in the shadow of Mount Vesuvius, and if you did add on another night, we can do day trips out to Pompeii. There's lots of different day trip options around Naples. But it's lovely just to spend the day there looking at kind of the royal palace, and there's castle and lots of wonderful waterside views to be had in Naples. From there, the next stop will be Taormina. So a lovely hilltop town right on the east coast of Sicily near Mount Etna. The picture there is of the Teatro Antico di Taormina, the ancient Greco-Roman theatre. That is very, very popular for visitors. Definitely you'll want to spend some time on the beaches, I think, as well. And there's a lovely tiny little island called Isola Bella, which is kind of a nature reserve just off the coast. So really lovely thing to do when you are there as well. And then you'll go on to Palermo by boat train. It's a lovely intercity train, got reserved seating and things like that on board. You can upgrade to first class, bring a picnic, really watch the sunny landscapes go by. Palermo, obviously the Sicilian capital. You can hire a car for a couple of days if you wanted and drive around a bit more, or just spend the time in town. It's a really, really nice, busy, bustling market city. There's a lovely royal palace with famous Byzantine mosaics that you can see, and very famous opera performances at the Teatro Massimo there as well. So it's a really interesting city, and one that kind of really rounds off the holiday very nicely indeed. You can fly home from there or take the train back a different way up through Italy and travel back on to back to the UK. Leaving Italy and heading over to Portugal now, and this is a lovely holiday that combines 3 of the best cities in all of Portugal, one of which I've only very recently got back from. The Turner family had a lovely weekend in Porto a couple of weeks ago, and it just completely fell in love with the city, and it was really, really sunny there while it was still cold in the UK. So we had a very smug, lovely lunch, drinking lovely wine and looking out over the river. It's also really easy to get from Lisbon down to the Algarve. There's a direct train that goes from Lisbon down to Faro. So you could easily combine 3 fantastic cities with a week by the beach in a resort or at a villa or something like that. That's really, really popular for Railbookers customers to do. It's also the holiday my parents are doing this summer, so they will enjoy that very much, I'm sure. You can take the sleeper train down to Portugal if you wanted. It goes from right at the north of Spain or right at the south of France, and it will take you down to Portugal. Porto is such a lovely city. I mentioned I absolutely fell in love with it when we were there. You can do an incredible 6 bridges tour, which was definitely the highlight of our trip. It's got really stately bridges all the way along the River Douro. On the south bank, there's just port house after port house after port house. You can go and do tastings. All the big famous ones are there, and little kind of local ones that you probably won't have heard of. So you can fall in love with the port wine and explore the medieval district. There's lots of lovely tiled kind of buildings and streets everywhere, beautiful tiles, all different colours. So there are some lovely photo opportunities. It's a really wealthy city because of its kind of port heritage. So lovely kind of buildings and architecture to see. You can visit the Livraria Leo, which was where J.K. Rowling used to visit when she lived there, and she based the Hogwarts Library on it. It's an incredible bookshop if you like bookshops like I do. It is only about an hour, either just under an hour or just over an hour, depending on the timetabling, from Porto to Coimbra. You can travel in standard class or upgrade to first if you'd like to. It's the country's former capital, Coimbra, which was a fact that I didn't know, but really great medieval preserved old town, and one of the world's oldest universities with an incredible Baroque library that's really well worth a visit. So much to kind of see and do, an 18th century bell tower and a really lovely cathedral you can see there as well. So definitely a fantastic place for sightseeing, and a nice interim point between Porto and Lisbon. It's just under 2 hours from Coimbra to Lisbon on another direct train. The hilly coastal capital city, Lisbon's obviously very, very famous for its castle and for its beautiful views like that one there, and for its lovely sunny yellow trams as well. You can explore obviously the old town and wander down the river. There's some more lovely bridges down in Lisbon. Then you can take a sleeper train over to Madrid if you'd like. I always get ahead of myself explaining what you could do afterwards and before, but there's a couple of ways. You can obviously get back up to France and to Spain by sleeper, or you can take the sleeper to Madrid and make your way back that way. It's totally up to you. Definitely do consider, if you're in that part of the world, adding on that direct train down to the Algarve and kind of perfecting the perfect holiday of perfect summer holiday. I think my ideal summer holiday would always involve some time on a beach and some time sightseeing. I think that's the perfect combination, and this would be a really great way to do that. Sticking in the same sort of region, we couldn't possibly talk about summer holidays by train and not head down to the south of Spain. This holiday's got flights in and out of Malaga. You can fly from so many different UK airports into Malaga, so hopefully your local airport will run the route. But if you'd rather travel by train, who could blame you? You can travel all the way down through Spain quite easily. So you take the high-speed train from Paris to Barcelona, which opened on the TGV line a couple of years ago now. It's a really beautiful journey, one that we've spoken about in these webinars quite a bit before because it is so popular and so scenic. Go along parts of the Mediterranean. There are sightings of flamingos on board, plus lots of lovely chateaux and vineyards to Barcelona. Spend a night there and then carry on down through Spain the next day. Malaga might summon up kind of visions of package holidays and things like that, but that's really unfair on the old town of Malaga, which is actually a really wonderful place to visit in the south of Spain, right on the Costa del Sol, with the beautiful kind of 2 huge hilltop citadels that you can see there to explore. Lots of remnants of the Moorish rule reflected in the architecture there. So a really nice place to have a couple of nights to explore before making your way on to Granada. They're still building that high-speed line, so it's not high speed at the moment. But Granada is certainly somewhere not to be missed. Absolutely wonderful when sun-drenched in the middle of the summer. right in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains, you'll see so many examples of medieval architecture dating right back to the Moorish occupation there. Obviously, the most famous of all of these is the Alhambra, the palace fortress complex, which is brimming with palaces and patios and reflecting pools and just so much to see. Our general manager rates it as one of the top 3 places he's ever been, which is high praise indeed. It can be really hard to get tickets, but don't worry, because we'll sort all of that for you, and we'll make sure that's totally organised so that you don't have to queue and you don't get turned away, because they do sell out well in advance, these Alhambra tickets in Granada. From there, carry on down to Cordoba, a very, very important city for the Roman times and in the Islamic, for the Muslims in the Middle Ages as well. It's great to kind of see that influence on the city. Most prominent at La Mesquita, this absolutely immense mosque, goes all the way back to 700 AD. Lovely kind of mosaics everywhere and a huge columned prayer hall, and somewhere really special and interesting to explore down in Cordoba. From there, you can take a direct high-speed train to Seville, so 47 minutes only between the two. And this was voted one of Lonely Planet's top places to visit in 2018, Seville. It's one of my favourite cities in Europe as well. It's definitely one of the best places in Spain to see flamenco dancing, or take part if that's that's what you like to do on your holidays. The Alcazar Castle complex is going to be a highlight of any visit to Seville, and the cathedral is absolutely beautiful. It's the site of Christopher Columbus's tomb. From there as well, it's only about 2 hours back up to Malaga, or there's a direct train to Madrid where you could go for a few nights and then make your way back up through Spain, or fly back. And we spent a lot of time in the south of Europe, so we're going north, and this is a fantastic journey. It's one of our most popular holidays. It is one of the most scenic railway journeys in the whole world, and it really is the perfect trip for summertime. There's no doubt about that. These are beautiful, beautiful journeys that are only more beautiful with everything green, the sun in the sky, blue skies, really get you prepared to make the most of all this amazing scenery. First city is Oslo, so you can fly from wherever your local airport is into Oslo if you wanted, or of course you could take the train. There's a train that goes up through Germany, so you take the Eurostar to Brussels, then a train to Cologne or Hamburg, and then make your way up to Copenhagen, spend a few nights in Copenhagen, and then travel on to Oslo. So it would take a couple of days, but it's a really, really nice way to travel, and you get to experience the wonders of Copenhagen along the way as well. Oslo, obviously the capital of Norway. It's right down on the southern coast, and perfect time to visit is the summer for the lovely waterside views and things like that you'll get there. The Viking Ship Museum is definitely a must-do. We went there when we were there, and it was really awe-inspiring. It's got a huge 9th century kind of Viking ship in there, so a really wonderful place to visit. From Oslo, you'll travel to Myrdal and then connect with the Flam Railway, one of the most famous railway journeys in the world, and right at the top of the bucket list if you are interested in scenic trains at all, beautiful journeys, Scandinavia. It is definitely not something that you want to miss. It is one of the steepest normal track railways in the whole world. It's 2,824 feet in under an hour through the most incredible scenery of rugged mountains and deep valleys and waterfalls. It is, you know, widely kind of considered to be one of the most beautiful journeys in the world. Our product manager is out there at the moment, so I'm hoping you'll have a video that I can put in the next webinar just to show you all how beautiful it is. It'll bring you into Flam, where we'll organise a Viking dinner menu for you, 5 courses of really nice local food with beer pairings as well, if you like. And we'll organise the trip out on the UNESCO listed Arlandsfjord. So UNESCO listed, absolutely gorgeous, you can see from the photo there. And they do these heritage safari rib boat rides out on the water. which is definitely not something to miss while you are in Flam, that we'll organise for you. We'll also do a ferry into the UNESCO listed Naraj Fjord, which I think I'm probably mispronouncing slightly, but it's the narrowest fjord in the world. And you can see from the picture there, you know, it's just the most incredible journey by boat. This is a great holiday because it combines the best of the boat trips and the rail trips. You can transfer onto a bus then as well, actually, that will take you to sort of waterfalls and continues on to Bergen. You can see in the picture of Bergen there, the funicular line that sort of heads up right to the top of the mountain for spectacular views down over the city. We organise a Bergen card for sightseeing. Lots of cruises go in and out of Bergen as well. So maybe you've got one of those booked or you're looking at one of those, and this would be the perfect trip afterwards to explore the fjords of Norway and then maybe travel back to the UK through Scandinavia afterwards. So that's our top 6, everybody. Our top 6 summer holidays by rail. Should obviously mention that any of them can be completely tailor-made. These are just ideas to whet your appetite or, you know, let you know good combinations of cities. But you can spend as long as you like in each destination. You can travel in first class anywhere it's available. You can fly into the first city. You can stop off en route. Totally flexible. I'll hand back.
We are still accepting questions, so if you do have any more, send them to our email at webinars@railbookers.com and we will reply as soon as possible. All these reasons are why you should book with Railbookers for any holiday that you want to go on. If you haven't got our brochure yet, head over to our website www.railbookers.co.uk/request-brochure and we will get one out in the post for you. Some of our holidays are in this brochure, however, not all of them are listed. Remember, we do tailor-made holidays so they can be as unique as you want them to be. You can also search our website via destination to see what else we have on offer. And if where you want to go is not on there, you can simply give us a call on 0203 780 2382 and we'll be more than happy to help. Thank you to everyone who has joined our webinar today. However, there can only be one winner who will win a massive £50 off to spend on their next rail holiday. The winner of today's webinar is Maureen Spence. Well done, and we will be in contact on how to claim this, so keep an eye out. Once again, thank you all for attending our webinar. Absolutely everyone who tuned in today gets £25 off their next rail holiday. Let us know via email, phone, or contact your local travel agent when you want to redeem this, and we can get this booked up for you. Don't forget to quote RBWebAPR to use this great offer. And when you're ready to book, you can get in touch with us via telephone, which has been displayed at the bottom of the screen on 0203 780 2382, or alternatively, you can pop into your local travel agent who would love to help. We will now move on to answering some of the many questions that we've received today. Let's have a look.
Thank you so much, everybody, for sending in so many questions. It's always great to see what kind of things people are asking. So yeah, carry on popping them in the box if you have any more. But yeah, sorry, Radhika, pick one for us.
Right. Okay. So Jill would like to know how flexible our itineraries are.
Hi Jill, thanks very much for asking a question. I'm guessing that question came through before I said that at the end of the presentation. So yeah, I should say absolutely all of our itineraries are completely flexible. So you can combine them together if you want to. You can add on, you know, different destinations. You can fly or take the train or stop off along the way. Or if, you know, nothing kind of quite fits, we build tailor-made holidays for our customers every day. You know, right from scratch to do exactly what they want to do. So we're absolutely possible. I don't know what exact plans you've got in mind, but more than happy to organise whatever it is that you'd like.
And let's move on. Carol would like to know, does it have to be in summer?
Hi Hi, Carol. Yeah, that's a good question. I should have seen coming, shouldn't I? No, none of these holidays have to be done in the summer. In fact, actually all of them could be done pretty much at any time of year. Obviously, some places like Lake Como are kind of come alive in the summertime and are quite seasonal with things being open and things like that. But there's no reason that you can't go in the off-season time. We've sort of selected them just as places that we think are the perfect, relaxing, lovely, sunny holidays. We're just wanderlusting. But they all can be done certainly in the autumn or in the winter or in the spring as well. Whenever you want to travel, just let us know, and yeah, that's no problem. There's no set departure dates in the summer or at any time. Yeah, go on, one more. Long haul holidays. Yeah, that's a great question. So we did definitely stick with Europe for this presentation, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to stick with Europe. And great to know as well, Tim, actually, that you're looking for next summer as well, because we can book all the way through this year and all the way through next year as well. So certainly if you are looking long haul, that's great. I like it. Early bird gets the worm and all that. With regards to suggestions, off the top of my head, I mean, places like the Canadian Rockies are absolutely beautiful in the summertime. The national parks of America as well, of the USA, places like Glacier National Park are only open in the summertime. So those are the ones that I'd definitely head to if you want to soak up the natural scenery kind of across the pond. Last year, actually, I did a big American Railroad trip for my summer holiday. Did 2.5 weeks, went from LA up to San Francisco and then across the country on the California Zephyr to Denver and Rocky Mountain National Park and to Chicago, and then spent the 4th of July just north of Boston by the seaside in New England. So that was definitely the perfect time to do that trip. I would recommend, yeah, that as a summer journey any day, because the daylight hours were so long. We woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch the scenery go by outside the window of the train, and everywhere kind of I think is at its best. And places like Chicago were a gorgeous temperature at the end of June as well. So that would be my recommendation off the top of my head. But certainly, we can look much further afield than that, or if you wanted to go to India, we could look at doing that in their summertime so that you get 2 summers. So it's totally up to you what it is that you'd like to do. You just let us know, or give one of our rail experts a call and they'll be able to give you their suggestions as well.
Thank you, Sarah. I think that's all we have time for today. Thank you for listening once again. Remember, you can book by calling 0203 780 2382 or pop into your local travel agent. We are open Monday to Friday 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Thank you once again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. Thanks very much.